But in the end, Chelsea still were able to get the win. They also did leave it a little too close for comfort there. But in the end, Enzo Maresca does get through. All right, it's time to talk about Craig's favorite topic, the Ballon d'Or, shall we? As you know, in L'Équipe, they celebrated with this cover, Ousmane Dembele as the Ballon d'Or winner. Let's have a look at the top five, though, on how it all mapped out. You'll see Lamine Yamal ending up in second, Vitinha in third, Salah in fourth, and Rafinha, which a lot of people didn't really like, was left in fifth. But speaking of not liking how the voting went, Lamine Yamal's dad didn't like how it went. This is what he had to say. He said, I think this is the biggest, I won't say theft, but moral damage done to a human being because I believe Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world by far, by a huge margin. Now, look, this is his dad, so you're probably not expecting to say anything less. But Frank, I know you're over there absolutely laughing at this.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I remember Frank Ribery story that he deserved to get the Ballon d'Or and didn't have, and that was a scandal for me. But overall, you know, we are talking about a young lad who, if he carries on like that, I'm talking about Lamine Yamal, he's going to get a Ballon d'Or. But he shouldn't get his target. They shouldn't be. We shouldn't listen to his father. You know, we don't care what his father thinks. You know, he's not a professional football player. He hasn't been a football player. He's just the father of somebody, and I'm pretty sure Lamine Yamal is going to be okay. He just won the La Liga. He won the titles, the European Championship with Spain. He's only 18 years old. He's going to get tons of titles, tons of Ballon d'Or. So breathe, my man, and it's going to be okay. I'm happy for Ousmane Dembele, but again, I cannot care less about that trophy. And you know me, like you know Craig, we don't care because it doesn't bring anything to football except those comments from parents. Again, parents, please shut up, parents. We don't need your advice. We don't need your comments. You're just parents. You know, come on.
well, don't besmirch my name. I actually like this award.
Do you?
No.
I thought so. What would you make of Lamine Yamal's father's comments?
This is the world we live in now, it seems. We have seen Job Bellingham's father get involved at Dortmund. We've seen other instances of family members talking about players who haven't won awards. There is, and for what it's worth, I actually thought he would have been a fitting winner of it, but I haven't got a problem with Dembele. I thought he was brilliant too. We never had parents involved. Maybe it was just, I mean, my parents, like most people's parents, when, you know, I was playing in London and it's a long way from Scotland, so they wouldn't come down a lot. But if they did come down to a big game, be it at Wembley or wherever, they certainly wouldn't get involved in anything that was to do with me. And if my dad ever got involved, I would have dragged him out. I can say that because he's no longer with us, so he can't challenge it. So yeah, I just feel that there is no need, and I don't think it helps the young man really in his own mind. You know, we saw Vinicius Junior struggle to accept it a year or two ago, and Real Madrid as a club struggled to accept it, and it didn't really do them sort of many favours in a positive manner going forward. It certainly didn't do Vinicius Junior any positivity because he went on to have not a very good season. Now, whether it was in his mind or not, I don't know. But these things are voted by other people, and lots of them. So you can't control it, can you?
No, it's a popularity contest, and I go back to the old thing that, you know, the trophies that you win, you earn. Trophies that people give you, which is what this is, they're just not worth the same thing. And, you know, if you want to, it is kind of sad. Like, rather than being happy for Dembele, who used to play for Barcelona, whose career at one point seemed to go permanently off the rails, and then who came back, and he gets to enjoy this, but you got to go dump on not just Dembele, but he's the best player in the world by a huge margin. Like, hey, do I need to send Kylian Mbappe around your house? Do I need to send Messi and Cristiano? Do I need to sick the Messi and Cristiano fanboys on you, Lamine's dad? Come on. Like, I talk about like setting the wrong example, you know, where if you don't win it, it's the theft or it's moral damage or it's a scandal. it's a vote. Look who's on the jury. Look how they voted. Take it up with them. Simple as that.
I mean, that's a good point. You're defined by, you really are, and I know, people will say he's got X amount of Ballon d'Ors and blah, blah, but it's voted. People have voted for you for this. You're not defined, you shouldn't be defined by the Ballon d'Ors. You should be defined by what you're doing on the field in terms of the success at the end of it, the trophies. And you can't always play for a team that's winning the Champions League or La Liga or the Premier League. It's just not going to happen. You've got Harry Kane scored 46 goals, I believe, for Bayern Munich. They win the Bundesliga, but they get knocked out of all the other big tournaments. That can happen. He could have been in the running, for example, with that amount of goals again. So I think we're getting into a scenario where there's too much onus now in this, and I think it's media-driven. Coming from us is a bit strange because we are media.
It is.
But I think it is media-driven, and we are somewhat guilty as well, because we talk about it as much. But we're almost driving the importance of it up. What's more important to me is seeing how Dembele's turned his career around from the discipline problems at Dortmund and Barca, being late, being injured, being wasteful in the final third, as he was a lot, and changing all that and going on to have the season that he did.
There's no doubt in my mind that if Paris Saint-Germain, they played Arsenal in the semi-finals of the Champions League, as we all remember, right? Very, very close game. Arteta still thinks they were the better team. Fine. Paris Saint-Germain go out. I guarantee you Dembele does not win this award. I guarantee you Vitinha certainly doesn't finish third, because many of these voters would have no idea who Vitinha even is, right? That's what you have to understand about the voting pool in this. These aren't experts. These aren't apostles come down from Mount Zion. These are a bunch of randos, many of them, who just watch big games on TV and go on that and say, oh, you won something, I need to reward you. And that's as simple as that. Equally, the flip side. If Francesco Cerbi doesn't materialize in the box and score that goal, and Barcelona beat Inter, they probably beat Paris Saint-Germain in the final, maybe. And Lamine Yamal would have won this award. It's as simple as that.
Luis, we know that Lamine Yamal's father isn't a stranger to the headlines over in Spain. How are his comments being received there? What are people talking about after the Ballon d'Or?
Not interested in those comments, Alexis. For me, I'm focusing on what I can see on the field and what is my opinion. At the end, we all have our opinions. If we throw who are going to be the winner or who we thought it was going to be the winner of the Ballon d'Or, I'm sure that on the table we'll have some more or less the same ideas. One will say maybe Vitinha, other one will say Hakimi, other one, but we'll be very close. I think that the way it was coming out is all about opinions and the way that we see football. For me, I think Ousmane Dembele deserved to win the Ballon d'Or. He did have a fantastic season. He won many trophies. It was very important for the team, for his national team. So what else can a player do to win a Ballon d'Or like this one? And if we go back, we all remember players, Fran just mentioning about Ribéry, we all remember Iniesta, we all remember Xavi, Raúl, Lewandowski, players who were incredible and didn't get the Ballon d'Or. So I'm not bothered too much about what the opinions of one or the other was. We all have our own and we have to respect them. So I'm just happy to see Ousmane Dembele coming back from a tough situation that he was when he left Barcelona, and how he raised his standards, how he developed himself, how he improved himself to become Ballon d'Or. So yeah, I'm really happy for him.
You could argue that Rafinha was the biggest improvement of the lot, although Lamine Yamal was a youngster coming through, and it's been a consistent, including the Spanish national team. But you could argue that Rafinha has propelled himself higher and quicker than Dembele, from Leeds United to struggling to Nico Williams coming in potentially, but they didn't have the money, so Rafinha stays, and he repays them with those numbers, which are actually better than any of the other two. One of the things for Lamine Yamal here is that he has, on the face of it, a very balanced coach who, thus far, both at Bayern Munich, when he was fighting the Niko Kovac fires, and at Barcelona, when he came in off the back of Xavi, where some of the players were a little bit, upset and didn't really know what was at Lewandowski, and Gundogan had these problems and blah blah blah. what we know is that Hansi Flick's a very good man manager. He's a good coach, but he's, talk to Jurgen Klinsmann, our colleague, who says he's very good behind the scenes talking to the players. And I think we've had good, we've seen a lot of good instances about that. And I think this is a good time for a manager like Hansi Flick, like Ancelotti, managers that talk to the players understand, to take them aside and go exactly what Gab was saying. Hey, it's a vote. Yeah. Respect Ousmane Dembele, but you were great. You're the best player for me. Forget about that. We have a big season ahead. Real Madrid have started well. I need you to be focused. I need you to go out and do what you've been doing, and you will reap the rewards. I think you'll get that from Hansi Flick, and I think it's just that he's got a coach who's very good at putting his arm around the player and saying, listen, don't let this get to you. You're a young man. You have the world at your feet, and just keep doing what you're doing, and the success will come.
Right. Well, I think...
I should have been a manager.
You should have been a manager. I felt very inspired by your speech there.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's let Luis Garcia.
Let Luis go to bed.
Yeah, Luis, I'm sorry, we've kept you very, very late, but we hope you were inspired by Craig's speech just there at the end. We're cutting into your wine time. Get some rest. Gracias, Luis. Well, I'm pretty sure Luis will be back for our La Liga coverage and plenty more games in the week. Atleti play tomorrow, but then Thursday, a special one for us. Real Oviedo against Barcelona. You know how much our Sid Lowe means to Oviedo, as well as how much he means to them. So
I don't want him blubbering during this game.
Craig Burley will be back in studio for that one, as well as Dan Thomas, and you can bet Sid will be there.